Yo, how's it going everybody? Swagkage here, and welcome to today's video where we're going to be talking about something that I find pretty interesting. It's about the idea of a hypothetical Sakura who's capable of opening the 8 inner gates. I don't want to get into detail about how she might go about acquiring this ability, because Lee spent his entire life training way harder than Sakura ever has, specifically to become a taijutsu master, and he can only use up to gate 6, so it's pretty hard to justify the idea of Sakura being able to open them, but, you know, for the sake of the video, let's just say that she can. You can also apply pretty much everything I say in this video to Tsunade as well. The two are clearly the same build, they have the same jutsu, same fighting style, and so on, so how one uses the gates is probably how the other would too. So the first thing worth looking into is how having the gates open would interact with the strength of 100 seal. This is without a doubt the factor that would give Sakura the biggest advantage as a gates user, because as everybody knows, the #1 risk associated with opening the 8 gates is the physical ramifications that they are said to have. Kakashi even points out that having 4 gates open was enough to cause Lee to start tearing his muscles apart, so opening something like gate 6 or gate 7 is a pretty big deal. The thing is though, the 100 healings jutsu automatically heals all injuries. There aren't a whole lot of feats to back this up, but Tsunade claims that she can even regenerate entire organs and limbs while the jutsu is active. This is relevant because Madara compares it to Hashirama's inherent regeneration ability, the same power that allowed him to regenerate half of his body after Guy hit him with the full power of the 8 gates. Now I'm not saying Sakura or Tsunade would normally be able to do anything of that caliber, but neither would Madara or Hashirama. Presumably, the only reason why Madara has regeneration powers this crazy is because of all of the extra chakra provided to him by the Ten Tails. So keeping that in mind, because opening the 8 gates gives a person access to so much more chakra than they normally have, it stands to reason that Tsunade and Sakura would be able to do the same thing. At the very least, you'd see a clear, massive increase in their regenerative capabilities, one that would easily be capable of dealing with the self-destructive drawbacks tied to opening the 8 gates. Whether or not it could save Sakura or Tsunade from dying after opening the 8th gate is debatable, but I think they'd definitely be able to use gates 1 through 7 for extended periods of time without any problems. This may actually even go beyond simply nullifying the damage that using the 8 gates causes, by resulting in a net benefit for Sakura's regenerative capabilities. For instance, if she were to open the Gate of Death and received a buff comparable to Madara's Jubi buff, then not only would she be absurdly powerful, but she'd also be practically immortal. The same thing is true, albeit to a lesser extent, of all of the lower gates, meaning that it might not even ever be necessary for her to actually open the 8th. This is, of course, without even getting into the ridiculous strength buff provided just by having the Byakugo seal and by the 100 healings jutsu that she'd be getting on top of the strength buff provided by opening some of the inner gates. But now that I've mentioned it, let's go ahead and start talking about how strong a Sakura with the gates open would be. The best, easiest way to do that would be to compare Sakura's feats to those of base Guy, particularly her speed and her striking strength. In terms of striking strength, Sakura blows Guy out of the water. Like, it's really not even funny. The best feat I could find for base Guy is him punching this other ninja through a wall, which, I mean, that's pretty impressive. You know, probably takes a lot of power to break through an entire wall, but it doesn't compare to Sakura practically fucking nuking the battlefield during the 4th war. And if you take a close look at this scan, you can see a whole bunch of bodies just flying, and they're tiny compared to the size of the explosion. So in short, we have Guy sitting over here chilling at wall level, and Sakura cooling around mid to high nuclear bomb level. Pretty big difference. Now let's move on to speed. Now, I'll be honest, Sakura doesn't actually have a whole lot of speed feats. There's one that a lot of people bring up when discussing how fast or how strong she is, where she seems to move out of the way of one of Kaguya's Biju hands. Naruto and Sasuke even mention that it's moving really, really quickly, but she doesn't actually dodge it. If you turn to the next page, you see that Kakashi has clearly grabbed her with his perfect Susanoo, and Sasuke was about to swap places with her to keep her from dying, so, you know, she wasn't gonna be able to move out of the way. It's drawn in a way that clearly communicates Sakura was about to get crushed to death by that thing, so, you know, she's not Kaguya tier speed or anything like that. The best actual speed feats that she has are in the battle with Sasori, where she's able to react to a lot of his puppet attacks and stuff, and with Chiyo's help and guidance is able to tag Sasori multiple times, you know, remain practically untouched by a lot of his poison weapons. So if you want, you can put her at like above average Naruto speed, but I'd put her at the same speed as somebody like Tsunade and a bunch of other characters that fall within the mid tier of speed in Naruto. So nothing bad, but just nothing super impressive. With all this in mind, if Sakura had access to the ability to open the 8 inner gates, she'd be, well, what it sounds like she'd be based on everything I've said so far. She'd be a much more powerful but not quite as fast version of Guy with the gates open, who also happens to be practically immortal and near impossible to seriously damage. garbage. I mean, if you take the striking strength examples that I gave, a 7th gate Sakura Hirudora would be fucking ridiculous. Guy's Hirudora was enough to shake the turtle island that Naruto was training on. So if Sakura unleashed one of these, well, I mean, fuck, at that point, just pack up and go home, dude. I think it's also worth pointing out that Sakura has notably good chakra control, like some of the best chakra control of any of the characters in the whole series. So she'd probably be able to make better use of the ridiculous amount of chakra that the 8 gates would give her access to than somebody like Lee or Guy would. This would likely provide an even greater strength buff to all of her attacks, further widening the gap in attack potency between her and Guy, though the same can't be said about her speed. If she and Guy were to fight and they both opened the 7th gate, I don't even know if she'd be able to do anything to him because of how much faster Guy is than Sakura. Like, seriously, he's one of the fastest people in the whole series. In base, he's able to get the drop on a lot of people and keep pace with people like fucking KCM2 Naruto and Obito. So in a contest of speed, I mean, she can't compete. It's as simple as that. Guy would blitz her to hell and back, and that would be that. Still, all this in mind, she'd be fucking nightmarish to face off against, and after opening the 8th gate would probably even be comparable to current Naruto and Sasuke. So I'm pretty sure I've covered just about everything I can as far as this topic is concerned, but real quick before I go, just want to take a minute to shout out the sponsor of today's video, Verve. And for those of you who don't know what it is, Verve's a streaming platform that hosts a wide array of different content sources and is created and owned by the team over at Crunchyroll. This of course means Crunchyroll is incorporated into the app along with Funimation. And for those of you who don't know what either of these two are, they're practically the 2 largest anime streaming platforms you can find right now. Across the 2 of them, you can watch pretty much any anime like on the planet, including Naruto, Boruto, Dragon Ball Super, Hunter x Hunter, Yu Yu Hakusho, My Hero Academia, One Piece, Bleach, One Punch Man, No Game No Life, Death Note, you name it. If you can think of it, it's probably on one of these 2, either subbed on Crunchyroll or dubbed on Funimation. If you click the link in the description, you'll get a free ad-free 30-day trial of Verve Premium, meaning you can watch all the anime you want to your heart's content ad-free for a whole month, and you don't even have to pay any money to do it. I think the best part about the app is you can use it even if you don't have an internet connection, so don't worry, you find yourself at the bottom of the ocean, but you still got enough battery in your phone to watch something. Pull it out, open Verve, the app's got you covered, you can binge some Naruto or whatever else you want. So once again, link in the description, you get a free month, it'll help the channel out in the process, so it's a win-win. But yeah, for real, that's gonna be all from me. So till my next video, talk to you guys later. Swagkage out, bye.